Hi, everyone. Thanks for logging in to today's webinar. It's going to be landscaping with edible plants. So I'm Josie Hoh, and I just want to bring you some of the plants that we have growing at Waimea Valley, some of the edible plants. So it's just a fraction of what we have, but just to give you an idea and pique your interest to grow a garden that's full of edibles and how you plug it into the landscape that you have at your house. So yeah, we are our mission is to we are immersed into the Hawaiian culture, conservation, and education. And Waimea Valley's Botanical Garden houses about 5,000 types of plants. And it's such an awesome living museum. So if you can stop by and check us out, that would be great. But today we're going to do a webinar on some of the edible plants that I want to share with you to make sense of a process that's easy for you to understand how you can plug in your plants into your garden. So, first, let us ask a few questions. Why do we create an edible garden? It's good to know your purpose, and it will help you know what you want to grow in your garden and what are the functions in your garden. Like, do you want privacy, a fence, a hedge that gives you some privacy? And is it low maintenance that you want? And do you want to grow a lot of plants or a little bit? You want to share it with your neighbors. So these are some of the questions you want to ask and realize the functions that's important to you and why you want to grow. So to start out, we're going to create this garden on paper so you can put it down on paper, and it helps you log in your desires for your garden. It's so overwhelming sometimes, and it's hard to know where to begin. So I was thinking this webinar would be helpful to know and have a process that makes sense so it's not so overwhelming and easy to understand and know what your limits are, your space, enough time to maintain the garden, and what your resources are. So the graphics for it is really simple. It's just bubble drawing, and that's to help you put down on paper and log in your wants. And the bubbles can be moved around. So obviously, you're not going to be able to design everything in 1 hour during the webinar today, but it'll help you understand the process that will make it easy for you to put down on paper. For example, this diagram here, you know where your house is and your garage is, and you want a patio at the back of the house. And then, oh, I want a small lawn area at the back of the house as well, because more of the space, I want it to be my planting area. And I need a kennel for my pet, and or maybe a composting area. So just think about what you want, and the purpose of creating this garden will help you decide what's more important to you. And maybe if you don't have enough space, maybe I'll do away with this for right now, but maybe in a couple of years you can add it in later on. So you can add a rain garden as well, where the water pools in so you don't have to water, and that's probably the low point of your garden. And you can design a rain garden that way. And the chickens gonna come and peck on my yard, my vegetables? So you want to think about all these things. So right now we have the traffic flow as well. So it will help you know the flow, how you walk, how you move around in your landscape. That will help you create the best garden you can have for this moment in time. So after you bubble your chart and you look at what's important to you, and then you can see how you can walk into these spaces in your backyard. For example, your car drives into the garage, and how do you get out of your garage? There is a walkout, a door, a gate that you can walk out, or you can go into the main door and goes out to your back patio, to your lawn. And there are 4 ways getting into your lawn that you can go in and out of. And then the walking space around your yard. So all this flow is really important because I've gone to gardens that you have to step over your planting beds, and it's just hard to walk. And it's also a maintenance nightmare if you have to do that, just because there's no order to it. And even if you have someone come to help you with your yard, it's just easier if there was a little order to it, so they could help you maintain it in a really easy way. For example, I've had my thyme or my herbs getting wheat whack, that sort of thing. So you want it to be in a space where it's safe from easy maintenance or your pets stepping over them. So you want it organized. So as you can see, where the black arrows are is the flow. So all around it, the green spaces are your planting space. So now you can plug in your planting space where you won't be walking over it. So the green boxes I have on the diagram is the planting space. And then the lawn area is in the middle. So it's a perfect, small lawn because you want to have more edible spaces. So I hope it makes sense. I know the drawing isn't to scale, but if you get an idea, it really helps you to see the capacity of your garden, like how many trees you can plug in and how many, herbs or plants or shrubs, hedges you can, where to put them, and where your privacy wall is too. If your neighbors are on the north side, so you may want the trellis that's higher, than the fence, so you can have some privacy. All right, the next slide. Okay. So the lighting is important. Actually, the most important factor for your design. You want to see where the light moves in your garden. So take a day to observe when you get up, east to west, where the light rises and sets. And then the north and south facing are the most hot and sunny. So you want to look at what's best, and then just to stress the factor that full sun is important for edible plants. So tracking the sun in your garden is important, and see what structures are blocking the sunlight, and know where you can plug in, what you want to grow, because some plants like more shade than others. So knowing your area, the nooks in your garden, really helps as well. So the light compensation point is when a plant takes in, makes food and has the reserves, the ratio to it, burning it through transpiration is important. So if the plant doesn't get enough energy or food, then slowly it'll just dwindle and die. It may live for a month or so, but it'll just suffer. And when a plant suffers, as you know, it won't flower for us and it wouldn't fruit for us. So light is crucial. So legumes, they are such an important part of making a soil healthy. Improves the soil structure and health, and it's because it's nitrogen fixing, where the plant has bacteria in it within that captures air and translates it, captures the nitrogen in the air and translates it into a usable form in the soil. So that's like fertilizer for the plant. So growing legumes are crucial, and you can rotate it around your garden, different areas, so that it can have nitrogen fixing soil, you know, and then the plants you can use to trim it and cut it and use it as green manure and spread it around your garden. And that is mulch and nitrogen for your garden. So it's a natural fertilizer. And pigeon pea is a great example to use. You could use the seed pods and eat the peas in it for cooking and just raw. But gandule beans is great for the yard because it's such a small bush, but then it's producing a lot, and you can trim it to size and use it for green manure and spread it around your yard for nitrogen, and it can be great mulch. So I do encourage you to grow legumes in your yard. So these are examples what you could grow. A wiki wiki, which is a native, butterfly pea, peanuts. There is a whole list of beans and peas and legumes that you could add. And legumes come in different forms. There could be vines and bush or even trees. So I would suggest that you grow some legumes. So this is a wiki wiki. It's a great native Hawaiian vine. So as you can see, you can eat the flowers for your salads. It's Carnavalia, and there is a few Carnavalias, and you can add them any species really. There is the Galeata, Molokayensis, Hawaiiensis. So there's different species. So whatever you can get seeds off, you can get hold of the seeds. That's what you're going to grow. This is the ornamental peanut, and it's a great ground cover as well. As you can see, it's ground hugging and tight, and it's good for weed control. And the yellow flowers you can eat raw or add it into salads, and they are little yellow flowers. They're not huge. I don't have a photo to show you here, but it's also good for forage. I know in South America, the cattle, they grow it for the cattle to graze on. Yeah. Also, there is that the real peanut. You could use the real peanut as well for ground cover. But I think you have to plant like 12 plants and harvest the peanuts, which is grown underground, and roast them, and then you can make a jar of peanut butter from 12 bush. So I think that's like 36 feet of stretch in your yard if you want to grow 12 peanut plants. And then next is the butterfly pea. It's also beautiful vine, Clitoria ternatia. The blue dye from the petals are used for making cakes and rice, and even a tea that is has healing properties. And you can also eat the young tender pods as well. So it's a great plant and easy to grow on a trellis or on a fence. So to the right is just a bag of flower leaves that you can buy. That was in Malaysia is $2 per bag, so it's reasonable. And the blue tea is beautiful, as you can see the color, and it makes beautiful cakes. So it can be overwhelming. It's like how there's so many of vegetables that you can be growing. So on this paper here, it's a UHCTAR new seeds, what they have for sale right now. So currently they have Pomoho pole beans. So that's in stock for now for sale. So that may what you be growing if you can get from them. So to narrow it down is you grow seeds of what's available to you. What's, your neighbor maybe has some seeds that want to share with you. So that's what you're going to be growing first. And tried and true, like, in your community and your area, you could grow this perfectly well. So you want to grow those, and it's more sustainable to grow the seeds that you can get locally. But you could also buy seeds from Burpee or Harris Seeds, Gardener's Trend. There are a lot of other seed catalogs, but this is what's in your neighborhood is the best, I should say. And for the seed source, it's great. They have, quite a great selection. So check them out. And if you need more information, you can go on their website and they can assist you with what they have or what your needs are. So before I move on to the next, just wondering if any of you have questions about the design aspect or until now, what we've been discussing. Some of you are probably also seasoned gardeners and farmers and growers. So, and I know some of you just started, so all questions are welcome, and I'm going to try answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Tickets to next year's Super Bowl in Los Angeles.
Oh, hi, this is Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Hi, I'm a beginning gardener, and my question is that I put down some citrus trees and I tried to look at where the light is around my garden, but I got them from Frankie's nursery, and it's been 5 years now that I put them in, and they're still struggling. What can I do?
First of all, maybe check out the sun factor. Is it in full sun, or what's the situation? Where is it?
So one of my Mayor lemons was in full sun, like really, really strong sun. So then I decided to move it to a space that has partial sun now. This looks like it's growing more leaves, but it still is not bearing fruit. and I compost as well. So every maybe quarter I have compost, and I'll just put it around the base. But
yeah,
it's
so
just like a stick with a few leaves.
So just
It's not
wondering,
growing.
you know, if there is enough organic matter deep inside the earth of your soil, meaning I don't know what your location is, like if it's closer to the beach or
Oh no, I'm in Salt Lake.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but do you put fertilizer in? Maybe you need some fertilizer.
I
Fertilizer?
did, yeah. Maybe last year when the quarantine started, I picked up some biotone.
Sorry?
I picked up some biotone for citrus trees.
Oh, okay.
That's the brand that I use, and I said it was for citrus trees, and I do it now every 3 to 4 months on top of the compost that I make on my own.
Yeah, that's interesting. Have you ever pruned it before?
No, I've never pruned it, but it's still the same size that I've bought it.
Okay, I'm wondering if you should pinch the tips and just to, you know,
pinch the tips?
Yeah, just give it a little pruning, like little bit, because I don't know what's the size of your tree.
It's a dwarf version. It's about 4 feet right now.
Okay, so yeah, so you don't want to prune a lot, but just, you know, so maybe that will trigger it to want to leaf more and fruit more or flower more later on. Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
sure
I'll try
exactly
that.
what,
Yeah.
you know, if there is pests involved, like if there are ants living in your root source, or is there mealybugs living in your root, you know, underneath where the roots are growing. So
Well, this is the second location, so it seems to be doing a little bit better in this location. But it is there's a huge CMU wall, and that black planter might not have enough soil, I think. It's mostly rocks. But I put down soil, but
lemon
maybe
seems
I
to
just
be
have to
finicky more finicky than the limes. Yeah, so I don't know if it ever got stressed at one point or dried out. I'm not sure. So and anyway, yeah, I hope I can help, but I'm not sure the situation overall. But if you do a drench, I know if you do a drench to make sure that there is no ants or something, you know, like a soap drench or something, because I'm not sure. It could be some root mealy or something growing in where you can't see with your eyes, just underneath the ground. Or you could get a soil test, and Sherman Lab, you can send them samples, and they can tell you what you need for your to improve your soil structure.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
We have one more question. Is there a big advantage to those large wooden planting boxes that rise above the ground or planting in the ground?
Okay, so the question is it better to plant above ground in the wooden boxes or underground? And it's better to plant above ground in a wooden box, because then you can control what you put when you created that box. The compost you put in, the soil you put in, you know what's in it. And also it's above ground. It's easier to control, like slugs and snails and the pests. You can see what's climbing up. You can, you know, control it that way. And it's just fun to, like, for people that are disabled or challenged, you know, standing up is easier to pick your herbs. It's just more comfortable. as well. So I hope that answered your question. So any more questions? Okay, so there is no more questions right now. So I'm gonna go to the edible palms. Palms are really unique. They really add like a different texture to your landscape. When you have like a round bush and herbs or ground cover, so having a palm is like almost a focal point to your landscape. And since we are into edible palm topic, so here are some examples I have, but I'm sure there's more to that. So this is a native palm, and I encourage you to grow this. Pichardia martii is from Oahu, but there are also other species like Pichardia hillenbrandii from Molokai. So what's great about the fruit here is you can eat the kernel. It tastes just like coconut, the white part of the coconut meat, the endosperm. So you can crack the hard shell and then it's white. The white meat is on the inside. So it's delicious. And martii, this species is great because the fruit tends to be a little bit bigger than the other Pichardia species. So you get more the edible part from it than probably the other Pichardia species. Asahi, this is the one that you see the purple fruit that people add to smoothies and ice creams and yogurts. So it's called Euterpe oleracea, packed with omega vitamins, as you can see here, acids, amino acids, and antioxidant. So it's also low salt tolerant. So make sure that you don't want to plant it next to the beach because it's a forest tree. And cocoa, as you all know, it's a well-known food source. It's an awesome plant. And there's the dwarf and regular form. So the dwarf gives you fruits in like 3 to 6 years, whereas the regular form, besides being double the height of in growth, it also fruits later, like 8 to 10 years. It'll start fruiting for you. So the dwarf ones are also pretty ornamental. Some are have really yellow orangey fruits, and the midribs are really bright orange as well. So it's good to eat and pretty. So the edible perennial ground covers. So there are actually a whole endless list, but what I picked out here is just something that is probably a little bit unique for some of us. So Bacopa Monouria, it's a native, indigenous, meaning it's a native Hawaiian plant, but it's also grown in other places in the world. And what's great about this is that it can tolerate a lot of moisture and also salt tolerant. And you can add it to your salads and has many healing purposes. So if there's a low point in your garden and where the water collects, this is a good plant to plant. It's a low ground cover and it hugs the ground, and it will help you absorb some of the moisture, the natural moisture that's in your soil. That's maybe too much of it if that's where the water drains in your garden. So Pauhohiaka is another native plant, Giacomotia Uelifolia, and it's a really pretty purple flowers. You can stir fry the leaves. It's in the Convolvulaceae family, which is in the sweet potato family. So the leaves are edible, stir fried. And it's a nice choice. It's just because you might not want to plant where it's high traffic, though, where you have to step on because it's a little bit sensitive. So you want to plant it in an area that's more private, that not many people are going to step on it, or pets going to step on it. Would be nice. So uwala, it's the sweet potato. And at Waimea, we have about 24 heirloom Hawaiian varieties. And it's cultivated sporadically. So I encourage you to grow the Hawaiian varieties as much as you can. And you harvest it every 6 months. And the leaves you can eat as well. You can stir fry it, and it's delicious. Ho'io, this is a native Hawaiian fern. It's beautiful as well. And the new growth is the fronds, the fiddlehead, the new fronds. And you can pick it, and the texture is just like an asparagus. Like, it's crunchy, and you can blanch it just quickly. So there is another diplasium, which is a non-native. It's called Paco. So the both of them culturally and horticulturally, they kind of have the same needs, which is filtered sun, and they like a lot of water, really moist soil, and it's also delicious, and it's used in many cultures. Yeah, I encourage you to grow this, uh, the two ferns that I just showed you, to add it to your landscape. So next is the fruit trees. It's also endless. So the curry tree, Morea Ninjai, it gives a curry taste. It's really nice in curries and in Asian cooking. It's not common. And the tree gets to be like about 15 feet tall, but it's a nice airy tree. So it's beautiful as well in your landscape. And chiku, this is one of my favorite sapotesi fruit. And the fruit is brown. It's not really pretty looking, but you're like, what is it? But it's really, really good. On the inside, it's brown as well. And it tastes almost like pear, at least the texture. You know how the greedy sandpaper texture, but it's sweet like brown sugar with that pear texture. And it's really unique, and not many people know about it. And the tree, as you see in the photo, is not really huge, so it's a nice addition to your landscape. Peanut butter tree, it has nice green leaves, and the fruit is the texture of peanut butter, and it's little orange fruits, small, about 1.5 inches maybe, and bright orange. And it's unusual. It's a nice novelty tree that you and your family can enjoy, and the birds like it too. So edible shrubs, there's kalo, katuk. The rose mallow and the roselle are hibiscuses that you can make, the leaves can make tea out of, or the calyxes are fleshy for the roselle, and you can make jams out of it, or pickle it, or even dehydrate it, and it's a good chewy kind of snack. So there's pomegranate, chili peppers, sugarcane. These are all great shrubs to add to your landscape. So taro o kalo in Hawaiian, Colocasia esculenta. The corms are the tubers that are underground, and you can harvest them every 6 to 9 months. And the leaves can be eaten as well. So there is the calcium oxalate that you need to boil and cook properly. If not, it'll give you itchy throat, but it's all worth it if you cook them well. So I encourage you to grow that. You could grow it in a big stand together. And there are many Hawaiian varieties at Waimea. We have about 60 Hawaiian varieties. And we distribute them to the community. So we're going to have some maybe closer to end of this year. If you're interested to obtain some of the starters from us, you can contact us and let us know then. So next slide. Katuk, Sauropus androgynous. It's one of my favorite vegetables for soups. It's almost like spinach, but better to me. It has that chlorophyll taste, like more chlorophyll and greener taste to it than spinach. And the texture is just a little bit firmer than spinach. So you use the young leaves, you harvest it, and then you just put it in the hot water with your soups, or just stir fry if you prefer. So it's also a traditional herb for many things, and it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties it has. They say that it's great for diabetes and a whole bunch of stuff, actually, like too much to mention. So pomegranate, as you know, many of us love it. Another nice shrub to have in your yard, and nice addition that doesn't take too much room, but everyone could enjoy. And Hawaiian chili peppers, also a lot of our favorites for those who like hot foods. So the Schoville heat unit is over 200,000. So it's pretty hot. The green pepper that we put on pizzas and such is only 100 SHU. And the ghost peppers is like 1,000,000 SHU. So anyway, Hawaiian chili pepper. So salt, wind, and tolerant plants, for those of you that lives on the beach, closer to the ocean, that gets that wind factor and the salt sprays. So here's a list of plants that you could grow that's edible. So the edibles I pulled out from these two sources, Fred Roch and Wysack's book, Plants for Tropical Landscape, A Gardener's Guide, great book. And also CTAR is a great resource. They have tons of publications that you can check out. And L13 is the salt and wind tolerance of landscape plants for Hawaii. And so some of the edibles mentioned are here, and I put zone 1 and 2. Zone 1 is more like for hardier plants that are closer to the water, and zone 2 is further away. It could be like behind the house, not on the ocean side, but on the mountain side of your home. So here are the list and resources, the reference book that I mentioned that are great. And on to your right, that's the Growing Hawaii's Native Plants. That's Karen Rosenberger's book on propagation, and it has also pest information. And for those of you that wants to start to grow native edible plants, that's a good book in your library to have. Also, seed sources you can get from are here, and Hawaii Seed is a great place you can do seed exchange, and Hawaii Seed Growers Network. These are great places you can exchange and trade seeds or buy seeds. And then Ko'olau Farmers, Fukuda Seeds, they also distribute seeds and sell local seeds as well. And I encourage you to go online blogs and local hubs to read on, what other people are growing and sharing information, and that will pique your interest in growing edible plants. So other things to read as well, there are like catalogs, and here's an ethnobotanical catalogs of seeds by Hudson. It's a great catalog, and the Farmer's Almanac. It's just tons of information out there. Next slide. So mahalo for logging in. I hope this helps, and just wondering if you have some questions, please shoot it my way and I'll try my best to answer them for you. And also we can send a copy of this PowerPoint to you if you're interested. And down the road, we're probably going to put it online so you can have some reference for future reference.
What edibles grow in shade?
So the edibles that grow in shade are the ferns, mainly ferns, yeah, that I can think of, and maybe some of the spinach you can grow in shade. I hope that helps. But maybe you can plug in the plants into the design so we can get an idea what can grow in shade and what prefers full sun. So if you could have that that slide with the diagram, we can do that. Yeah. So for example, to your left is the east side, and that's the shady area of your landscape. So where the main door goes. So that rectangular right there, I can grow a whole bunch of ho'io, which is the native fern, or the Paco fern that's edible. Yep, that's the great area where it's shade. And you can grow 5 by 3 feet of space. You can feed about 4 people. So that's what you can grow there, for example. And the planting space on the other side, there you can grow other edibles, maybe more ferns, or I know taro needs more sun, but maybe you can grow that for the leaves, and also harvest the corms as well. So there's one space. And then the palms, you could plug it in by the lawn area if you want open space, because palms do grow tall and you can go see that and go look through it, I mean. But if you want that lawn area to be more private, and you can grow hedges around it and shrubs around it, the edible shrubs on the list. Yeah. And then on the hedges, like for example, to your right, Jaboticaba is a nice shrubby plant to 15 feet. And the fruits are like grapes hanging from the what do you call it, the trunk of the tree, and you can make juices and jams out of it. So you can grow a whole hedge of it for privacy if you want it on your on the boundary of your property. And then you can put your raised vegetables there, and then right there, and then there you could put your pole beans or your eggplant between there, all your squash, or even nasturtium, which is a flowering plant, but it's a vine, and you can eat the flowers, and it adds bright orange or reddish color to your salad to make it beautiful. It's a nice addition. So the ground covers that are hugging, you can plant it there. Your peanut can be there. And what else is on the list that we can add to?
Oh, any other fruit trees?
Yeah, the fruit trees. So I would put it on the side, on the right. And so fruit trees can go there. So it gives a nice canopy, but it's also out of the way. So if there's falling fruit, it wouldn't be on your lawn area, which maybe you want to have entertainment and have guests come. So just to give you an idea of how you could plug it in. I hope that helps. So if you have another question, please send it my way and I'll try to answer you. So your design can be changed. If you try it out, and if it doesn't work, it's all right, and change it to another area that you think will work for you. And when you start growing too, you'll figure out if you have enough time or space to grow what you want to add to your garden. Thank you very much for logging in.
We have another question.
Oh, there is one more question.
Are edible trees that don't make much rubbish? So like,
The edible trees that don't make much rubbish. So yes, they are. The chiku that I mentioned with the cool common name chiku, which is a sapotacea. It's a small tree and it doesn't make much rubbish. And the jaboticaba doesn't as well. It's not too bad, and palms are not too bad, except the fronds will eventually want to fall. So you want to make sure if you have the palms, you don't want anything sensitive that is breakable, like like a lettuce or something that's a bed of lettuce underneath a palm tree, that something can just fall on it and smash it. So this is what I would say. I'm just pushing it because this is my favorite small fruit tree. And this is the one that has the fruit that tastes like brown sugar with a pear texture. It's an awesome tree. It's slow growing in the beginning. It'll take some time, but it's well worth it.
is it available at Waimea Nursery?
It's not available at Waimea Nursery right now, but we can work on getting you one. If not, check out Frankie's nursery. He usually has quite a few assortment of different fruit trees for sale. So you can check out the nursery at Waimanalo It's a great nursery. All right. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
That should be it. I'm going to leave the meeting open just because I'm trying to send out the PowerPoint. So I guess if you say, just stick around for the PowerPoint till we're in the chat.
Okay, just stick around for the PowerPoint. Mahalo. Have a great day.